Word that some 700 COVID patients hospitalized recently. Power outages in multiple parts of Hong Kong Island early today. And the death toll from yesterday's Beijing hospital fire jumps to 29. Hello and welcome to TVB News. A government pandemic advisor said that some 700 COVID patients have been hospitalized lately. The health chief admitted the city had witnessed a rebound in coronavirus infections in recent days, but stressed the government has the ability to cope with a comeback of COVID cases. Jackie Lin reports.
Every day, upwards of 200 COVID patients have sought medical help at public hospitals in recent days, according to government pandemic advisor Dr. Lau Yulong. Rising in tandem is the hospital admission rate for COVID patients, which jumped to more than 100 every day over the past 5 days. A hike too in the real-time effective reproductive rate of local COVID cases from the University of Hong Kong. It went up to 1.71 last Tuesday, meaning one COVID patient could infect nearly 2 persons. Some family doctors said more patients with upper respiratory symptoms dropped by their clinics, and many didn't get COVID screened.
The number of cases of upper respiratory tract infection has increased for the past week, so much so there are twofold of increase. Patients come to the clinic complaining of headache, fever, runny nose, and cough. When I ask them whether they are doing their RAT test, a lot of them have not done it.
This elderly home manager also told us more residents have come down with COVID, but a lot of them could recover and be discharged from hospital quickly, unlike the situation in the past. Government pandemic advisor Dr. Lau Yulong told us it's certain Hong Kong's COVID caseloads will ratchet up, but public medical system won't be overwhelmed.
Definitely, the trend is increasing, and it will further increase in the next couple of weeks. However, I think most of the infections do not actually result in severe disease, so I don't think citizens should be too worried.
Echoing the sentiment, Secretary for Health Lo Chung-mau said, although there will be a slight surge in cases, the government is absolutely confident about its ability to handle the rebound. Still, the government reminds the elderly and those from high-risk groups to get their booster shots as advised. They're also recommended to keep their masks on, especially in crowded places. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The World Health Organization has warned against COVID complacency. They say severe waves are still possible as the world continues to open up. David Garrett reports.
India has seen a number of COVID cases involving a new mutant strain, Arcturus. The surge has prompted the country to reimpose a mask mandate in hard-hit states. It only emerged in India 3 months ago, and 29 countries and regions have reported cases.
Should those epidemics like flu or RSV or SARS-CoV-2 occur at the same time of the year, or if severe waves occur at the same time, then what you see is the additive effect. And what we're concerned about here is health systems coming under pressure.
Ryan says evolutions of the virus are inevitable, but he believes the current strategy is the right one.
The virus continues to evolve. It continues to test our immune systems. It continues to try and evade those immune systems, so we have to remain vigilant. But I do think that the trajectory, and Dr. Tedros has said this many times, we're on the correct trajectory. But we need to continue to protect those who are most vulnerable. We need to stay vigilant. We need to keep testing, and we particularly need to keep sequencing.
As the fight against COVID goes on, another disease is concerning the WHO, a dangerous Marburg virus outbreak in Equatorial Guinea.
Last week, 2 healthcare workers that had contracted the virus were discharged from a WHO-supported treatment center. There has now been a total of 16 laboratory-confirmed Marburg cases. Among these cases, 11 people have died. 23 probable cases of MVD have also been reported since the outbreak was declared on 13 February.
The WHO, despite criticism from some during the pandemic, continues to try to contain the spread of all disease around the world. David Garrett, TVB News.
Several areas across Hong Kong Island experienced power outages early this morning. Some people were trapped in lifts and alarm bells went off. Hong Kong Electric has apologized for the incident as an investigation into the power failure is underway. Timothy Lee reports.
Just after midnight, a sea of darkness blanketed the streets of Hong Kong Island in multiple districts. Traffic lights stopped working. Vehicles slowed down when approaching junctions. Alarm bells went off, and cases of people being trapped in lifts were reported, requiring the assistance of fire services personnel. At least one person was rescued by firefighters after being trapped in a lift on Kings Road in North Point. Hong Kong Electric said its electric power system malfunctioned at 12:49 in the morning, which led to power outages in a number of districts on the island. Power was restored at 1:37 a.m. after emergency repairs were made. The company apologized for the incident and said it will continue to investigate the cause. A spokesperson for the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers Electrical Division believes the power outage could have been caused by roadworks that damaged electrical cables. Meanwhile, some residents recalled their experience with the power outage.
At home, I use, the smart lights, and they were not set up properly. So when the power went back on, all the lights, they turned on suddenly in the middle of the night. So that's why I was like, oh, okay, what's happening? I think I didn't realize until the power went back on. And that's when I realized that, oh, something happened, but I just went back to sleep.
Here in North Point, a number of residents reported experiencing malfunctioning traffic lights as well as home appliance failures due to the power outage. Other locals said they were surprised by the incident, but that they only found out about the power outage from watching the news this morning. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The observatory issued an amber rainstorm warning that lasted 2 hours this morning. Intense gusts of over 100 kilometers per hour were recorded at Star Ferry in Tsim Sha Tsui. Veronica Lin reports.
Severe thunderstorms are crossing the Pearl River Delta. At 10:15 a.m., the observatory issued the amber rainstorm warning. The area of Tuen Mun experienced heavy rain and strong winds. Even an umbrella was unable to shield you from the pouring rain. Dark clouds gathered over the central district, with drivers having to turn on their headlights. At around 11 a.m., the observatory issued a special reminder that violent gusts were expected to continue to hit the city. Gusts reaching 100 kilometers per hour were recorded at Star Ferry in Tsim Sha Tsui.
Standby mode for the Wi-Fi registration.
Meanwhile, multiple wind-related incidents were reported in Tuen Mun and Sha Tin. Under strong winds, a private car was hit by a falling solar panel at around 11 a.m. while traveling along Tuen Mun Road in Tuen Mun. The windshield and the front of the car were damaged. No injuries were reported. Separately, 6 were hit by barriers that were blown down by the wind on a footbridge in Sha Tin. 4 were sent to the Prince of Wales Hospital for treatment. The amber rainstorm warning was cancelled at 12:15 p.m. Jennifer Yip, a scientific officer at the observatory, said a trough of low pressure will continue to bring showers and squally thunderstorms to Guangdong in the next day or two. The sky is likely to turn clear with brief moments of sunshine on Sunday and Monday, she added. The observatory predicts that the northeast monsoon will affect the coast of Guangdong around the middle of next week. Veronica Lin, TVB News.
The death toll from a fire that broke out at a hospital in Beijing Tuesday has jumped to 29, including 26 patients. The fire at the private Changfeng Hospital in Fengtai District forced dozens of people to evacuate and prompted some of those trapped to escape from windows using bed sheets tied together. The cause of the fire is under investigation, though it is suspected that sparks from work being done at the inpatient wing may be to blame. Authorities have detained 12 people, including the hospital's head and her deputy, along with the head of the construction crew. In Sudan, fighting raged on even after a truce was supposed to have come into effect. The ceasefire between two warring factions of Sudan's military was meant to allow civilians to buy food and facilitate evacuation. But residents say gunfire and explosions in the capital, Khartoum, and other cities continue despite the truce. Nazvi Karim has more.
Residents in the northern part of Khartoum line up to buy food and supplies, hoping for a measure of relief offered by a 24-hour ceasefire agreed on humanitarian grounds. With many residents cowering in fear in their homes and the health system at near collapse, the United Nations has described the situation as a humanitarian catastrophe. The UN's World Food Programme has suspended operations after 3 of its employees were killed.
I've witnessed military helicopters and planes flying around. On a personal level, I'm at a point right now where I'm worrying every night if people are going to come walk into the house trying to take whatever food we have and whatever money we have, and that's been happening all around Khartoum.
Ceasefire or not, residents out of necessity continue to flock to stores to stock up on supplies. With no end to the fighting in sight, they are hunkering down for the long haul. Nazvi Karim, TVB News.
Still ahead, a parking garage collapse in New York City's financial district leaves 1 dead and 5 injured. A plan to gradually start imposing electric vehicle charging fees at government car parks later this year. And virtual tours of the Palace of Versailles here in Hong Kong. Welcome back. In New York's financial district Tuesday, a parking garage collapsed, killing 1 worker and injuring 5. Cars were crushed as concrete floors fell on top of each other. Some described it as a stack of pancakes. Tracy Furness has more.
A 4-story parking garage collapsed around 4 p.m. Tuesday, a few blocks from New York's City Hall and the Brooklyn Bridge. It was also near Pace University, whose students, faculty and staff used the car park. At least 1 worker was killed as a result of the collapse and 5 injured. Eyewitnesses said it was shocking.
I just saw the view of the collapse, and from the rooftop, it looks like it's completely sunken in. It seems pretty bad, and it's kind of shocking.
Emergency personnel deployed robotic devices to look for further casualties after firefighters were pulled back from the fallen structure because of the unstable conditions.
We had firefighters inside the building conducting searches. The building was continuing to collapse. We made the decision to remove all our people from the building.
Authorities believe they have accounted for everyone inside the building, but are still searching to see if anyone was in the crushed cars. The City Police Commissioner told reporters they had no reason to believe it was anything other than a structural collapse. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Fox Corp and Fox News have settled a defamation lawsuit by Dominion Voting Systems for $787 million. The case stems from Fox News' coverage of false vote rigging claims in the 2020 U.S. elections. The settlement came as opening statements were about to start in court. NBC has more.
The parties have resolved their case. With those words, the landmark trial between Dominion and Fox News was over before it began. The 12-person jury, seated just this morning, was thanked for its service. Fox and Dominion legal teams thanked the court, and everyone walked out.
Lies have consequences.
Attorneys for Dominion then spoke to a sea of reporters outside.
Today represents a ringing endorsement for truth and for democracy.
As part of the settlement, Fox agreed to pay Dominion $787.5 million, just less than half of the $1.6 billion they were suing for.
Fox has admitted to telling lies about Dominion that caused enormous damage to my company, our employees, and the customers that we serve. Nothing can ever make up for that.
Dominion Voting Systems accused the network of defamation and promoting conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election. President Trump's lawyers were repeated guests on Fox, falsely claiming Dominion used its voting machines to rig the outcome.
The machine ran an algorithm that shaved votes from Trump and awarded them to Biden.
At the center of it all, Dominion voting systems. Are they the culprit here?
Fox News releasing a statement acknowledging the court's rulings that certain claims about Dominion were false, adding it's hopeful the decision to resolve this dispute with Dominion amicably instead of the acrimony of a divisive trial allows the country to move forward. Today, reaction on the network.
But there were risks for both sides here. Fox obviously did not want to lose this case. Dominion would have had to prove actual malice. That's a high bar in any such case.
But legal troubles aren't over for Fox News. It still faces another defamation lawsuit from voting technology company Smartmatic with similar allegations, suing for $2.7 billion. Fox has denied the allegations and called the alleged damages outrageous.
A Russian court has rejected an appeal by Wall Street Journal journalist Evan Gershkovich, meaning he'll stay in prison until his spying case is heard on the 29th of May. Gershkovich is the first American journalist to be charged with espionage in Russia since the end of the Cold War. He stood in a glass cage in the courthouse, flanked by FSB officers. The 31-year-old looked calm and even spoke to other journalists. He was denied bail. A lawyer for Wall Street Journal publisher Dow Jones called the charges false, but was unsuccessful in demanding his release. The government is planning to gradually start collecting charging fees for electric vehicles at government car parks in the second half of this year. That's despite the previous administration's announcement that there won't be any charging fees until 2025. Some say the new move may hinder car owners' decision to switch to electric vehicles. Currently, car owners can charge their electric vehicles at government car parks for free. However, the latest document submitted to the Legislative Council by the Environment and Ecology Bureau says in order to speed up the marketing of charging services, charging fees will gradually be levied at government car parks later this year. According to government data, as of September last year, there are around 5,400 electric vehicle chargers for public use in the city, including 2,200 chargers at government car parks. And starting today, people can take a journey inside the Palace of Versailles virtually at the Hong Kong Heritage Museum. Jointly organized with the Palace of Versailles and the French May Arts Festival, the exhibition brings you back to the former home of French royalty 4 centuries ago. The virtual tour made use of multimedia and interactive installations to create an immersive experience for visitors. They include the famed Hall of Mirrors and the Royal Opera House. Visitors can even catch a glimpse of the bedchamber of Marie Antoinette. The exhibition will run until July 9th. That's the news. Thanks for watching. Have a good evening.